You are listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Cult of Campbell.
Yay.
Hello.
I'm Ty.
I'm Eric.
I'm Ben.
I am Ian.
And I'm Ursa.
We got the whole gang here because we are doing Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn.
Ooh.
I think it's kind of going to be like a tradition for us to like all be present for the Evil Dead films.
It certainly is cause for us all to come together.
I think it's a good occasion for us to all get together for these 5-man episodes. So, yeah, we're doing Evil Dead 2.
That's right.
Yep.
It was directed by Sam Raimi once again.
Of course.
Produced by Robert Tappert.
Of course.
Written by Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel.
Of course.
Starring Sarah Berry, Dan Hicks, Cassie Wesley,
Who else?
Richard Domeyer,
That like the all-star cast.
and
Yeah.
who's that other one?
Say it.
Bruce Campbell.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget Ted Raimi. This is a
Oh,
we
do Ted Raimi.
Yeah,
Fuck Ted Raimi. Fuck him.
Fuck off.
Fuck him for Man with the Screaming Brain.
we got
There, I said it for everybody.
He said it for, and speaking of, we had this idea to start a
Ted Tally.
A Ted Tally.
Yeah, so this is our second. This is our second Ted Raimi featured movie, I think.
Yes, in chronological order, maybe not release order.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I think with that said, I think we just need to talk about this movie because this movie there is a lot to digest
Oh,
in Evil Dead 2, and I am totally interested to hear what Eric's opinion is on it because this is his first time.
Yep.
And I want to see what he thinks about his groovy rating on Evil Dead after seeing Evil Dead 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get groovy.
Grab your boomstick and fire up the Delta. It's time for ACTION. Join the Cult of Campbell.
Groovy.
And if you're lucky a little later, I'll let you play with my boomstick.
So, I think I watched this when I was, again, a teenager. And then again, just like Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead, after I worked the security job with a guy that was just super, super into Evil Dead. And he's like, you got to go back and watch it. And I did. I thought it was a really good movie. But Eric, this is your first time watching.
This was. I'm an Evil Dead 2 virgin. I kept the slate clean for this very experience. Holy shit.
Yeah. I saw this for the first time, I want to say like 2011 or something. Like I saw it pretty late, but it's also been a while since I have seen it. And boy, I really liked Evil Dead, but Evil Dead 2 is somehow way better. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'd forgotten how fucking ridiculously funny it was.
to me, it's kind of like Alien and Aliens. They're almost uncomparable. So it's like two different movies, honestly.
Yeah.
Like one is your straight up like horror. It's a descent into fucking like it you feel
Dread.
like it's like a very dreadful like ride. And then you got Evil Dead 2, which is like this campy horror
slapstick
action comedy. Yeah.
Descent into madness,
Descent
I would
into madness.
say.
Oh yeah.
It does a very good job of making you feel as crazy as Ash probably, or at least would have to feel like.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't have any idea what in the hell you're actually fucking watching.
No.
Yep.
No.
So
No,
my
don't.
first time watching this was on VHS. I know that. I remember distinctly the VHS I watched only had like, on the back of like tapes, they always had like pictures. I remember there's two pictures on the back, and like one was him, like it was Ash like standing there bloody, and the other picture was him in like the same spot, but his hand is attacking his face. Like I remember that. And I don't really remember watching it much, but I remember I had watched it. I had it on VHS, and it was probably around the same time I watched Evil Dead 2, or Evil Dead, the original. But I remember enjoying this so much more. I think that's probably still my opinion on it. But yeah, I remember I was very young when I watched it, which it seems to be like a running thing with me is watching movies I shouldn't have when I was a kid. But. What about you, Ben?
So for the longest time, this for me was just a poster. I knew the poster on, the skull with the eyes and Evil Dead 2, and it was on a poster on the local movie store, and I had no idea what it was. And I didn't even watch this thing till probably 2012. And I was just like, this is probably maybe even a year or maybe 2 years after I'd watched the first one. And so I was like, okay. 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 And space travel. What the fuck? So, and having just rewatched it again, I had the exact same feeling. It's just like, it's like having rainbow shit piled on top of each other, but it's just crazy, insane diarrhea coming at your face the whole way through. And like Bruce's acting really pulls it through what could be a really, really terrible experience. You just come out the other end exhausted, crazy, but you enjoyed it.
Yep.
Right.
What about you, Ursa? What was your first time?
Oh, like I mentioned earlier.
This, I forgot how fucking fast paced it was too.
It jumps right fucking into
Yeah.
it. It is a wild ride.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
So where do we
Jesus
start
Christ.
at, Ian?
Give me a fucking second. Well, it starts where
That's
Evil Dead
appropriate.
started. Because, fun fact, if you didn't know, which you're listening to a full spoiler review of an Evil Dead movie, so you probably knew this. They couldn't get the rights to the first one. So, because Sam Raimi wanted to just do like a flashback catch up, since I think this came out in 87, right?
Yes.
And then the first one was 81. So 6 years between the movies. And then fucking, I'm already.
Oh man,
losing it.
so this was before Maniac Cop.
It was
It was?
before.
Oh, yeah. That's
Wow.
right, yeah.
Maybe he got shot. So this was definitely not. Bruce was not on his game in Maniac Cop. So
Sure, yeah. Maniac Cop was rough sometimes. That's one of those movies that would have been way better if it was way shorter. But anyway,
He
Yeah.
manages to do a flashback sequence more or
Yeah.
less like he does like
Right.
what would normally be like the previously on is just the first part of the movie.
yeah, because he's with Linda, who's played by a different actress. I don't remember why. It doesn't really matter.
yeah,
though.
it's,
Who cares?
so they lose Ellen Sandwich.
Well, bye, Ellen.
Man,
Yeah.
she made it through Within the Woods, came into this.
Well, Ellen Sandwich was his sister.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's with, but they still don't have the other chick.
Ash is in the front seat instead
yep.
of the back seat.
Yep,
That's
he's
right.
driving, and him and Linda are just squatting in a cabin, I guess.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. They're like, because she
Yeah.
like explicitly says like, what do we do? What do we do if they show up? And he's like, oh, we'll just tell them our car broke down. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like, wait, you guys are just
like what would you do if you if you walked in your house and there was someone there? Are you going to be like, oh, your car broke down? Okay, like,
Of course. Yeah.
that's
help
fine.
yourself.
You break, break in all you want.
back there?
right? What the
Yeah.
fuck are they doing back there?
Yeah, because they had to cross like this huge canyon. With
Yeah,
this
like, well,
crazy
just tell them our car broke
bridge.
down.
Yeah.
But like, when after the 6 miles
but-
of our
But
driveway?
why are you here? Why did you drive here for your car to break down?
Right. Because like this cabin was way nicer than the one in the first movie, but I don't know if it was that nice. Like, yeah, let's go risk going to jail to break into this cabin. and
Jail
have
my
a
ass! You
romantic
get
weekend.
shot out in places like that.
Yeah, you don't come back from somewhere like that. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
the
that's
people that
true.
live out there like show up and there's someone else there, like,
Yeah,
You got a purty mouth.
They were
boy.
up on top of a mountain. You're right. It's awfully methy out there.
it is very methy.
But yeah, so they get to the cabin and they basically just rush through a bunch of shit. Like Linda barely even has any lines before she becomes a deadite. He gives her the magnifying glass necklace that was
Right.
a not great grappling hook in the first movie,
Right.
but
Whatever, it
effective. I mean, yeah, well, yeah. After 3 or 4 tries, I'm just saying, if the grappling hook takes that many tries, it's not a good grappling hook.
I guess speaking of, I guess the idea was originally for them to burn the book with it, but they couldn't make the effect work or something like that. So it became
That makes
grappling.
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you turn it into a grappling hook? Okay.
My thing is they didn't reboot it.
Right. But he kills Linda. He chops off her head with the shovel in a pretty parallel scene to the first one, but it looks way better. This movie
Yeah, you can,
very clearly has a bigger
you can
budget.
call that a soft recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
This movie is like pretty much like a reboot, like basically.
yeah. Yeah. Like the continuity doesn't work technically, but like a fan edit or just kind of fudging the details would make it work. Because like,
Right.
because in the
Ash
first
versus
movie, he
Evil Dead.
decapitated Linda. Yeah, and in Ash versus Evil Dead, they reference all three of the movies. Like
Right.
all the events of those movies happen to Ash in Ash versus Evil Dead. So that it's obviously meant to.
So does
to
that
be
mean that the
have
entire
continuity.
party was squatting in that cabin? Those sons of bitches.
I know, what assholes. So Linda's dead, and I don't remember. Ash just kind of starts going a little crazy, and then she comes back. Which that scene was actually legit pretty creepy.
To me, that's the
Yeah.
creepiest scene in the movie.
Yeah, like not great stop motion looks so creepy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even great stop motion looks creepy, but
Yeah,
there's something
I
about the
always think,
janky movement
yeah.
that was just like, what the fuck? It was perfect, uncanny. So her headless body, which is all of a sudden just like decomposed, pops up, starts dancing. Her head rolls back on.
For this, we get like the ending of Evil Dead, where the evil bursts through the cabin.
You're right. See, I knew I was gonna fuck that up.
Oh, I don't blame you one bit, but it like lifts him up and like takes him for miles from what we can tell. Like,
Yeah.
he is fucking
That
flying.
is right.
Yeah, that's basically
right.
where the first movie would have ended, and we technically began the second movie. You're right.
Yeah.
See, I knew that's going to happen a lot.
And then we get our
we'll
first
get through
shot
it.
of Evil Ash.
Evil Ash took me completely by surprise.
I thought your brain was going to explode.
It was.
You were in shock. You were like, you did not know what you couldn't process it.
I couldn't. I'm like, I thought he was our hero, our main character, and he's
you were
gonna,
like, "What happened? Like, he's a Deadeye there." What does it look like?
oh my god.
So
The
couldn't
sun
believe it.
comes up. The sun comes up and drives the evil out of Ash.
yeah.
Oh, thank God.
'cause
I didn't
there
know what I was
that-
going to do with that.
yeah, there was that crazy shot. I'm assuming was a dummy, but it looked really good. Where he falls from like almost the top of a tree that he slammed into and lands face first in it.
Into a
Like,
deep ass puddle.
Yeah.
deep ass puddle. Pops
Deceptively
up,
deep-ass
evil
puddle.
Ash. Sun rises, scares off the evil, and then he just passes out for
like a whole day.
like hours. And then he's just back at the cabin. He like wakes up and like turns around, and the cabin's right there. It's like you flew way fast or further away than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's when he jumps in the car, drives to the bridge. It's all fucked up. It almost even looks like a claw. And he just screams no.
I really like the compositing they did on that. Like it was very janky. Like it was like animation almost. Like especially that shot they did like right after that. He sees it. He gives the camera pulls back and he goes no.
Yeah, and you see the whole bridge.
And then it does this shot where like the sun goes down and like he's composited in front of it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it looks bad, but like it fits with the movie. I guess.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. A lot of like the stuff you see in this movie that doesn't look good, it works for the movie because it looked bad, but also was kind of disorienting and like kind of like
Yeah, and it matches that reality bending tone
Yeah.
that we're getting a lot of especially as a movie.
so. Then
goes on.
we get a car chase as the evil chases the
Chases
car.
him back.
That was a cool shot too, where it came up and we're just following that
Yeah.
car as it's just backing up.
And
And
then
he wrecks and
gets
gets
jettisoned
jettisoned
through the flies the fuck out. He gets
After,
his
like-
ass kicked in this movie. Like, a lot.
he gets his ass beat.
And
this
it's
whole
like
movie.
actually Bruce.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we get the shot that I thought Eric was going to have to change pants after.
Oh no.
We get the one shot.
Oh my gosh.
which was fantastic. Because how many takes where Bruce or the cameraman just fucking on their head? Like, there were beams and shit sticking out. Like when they were running through the wall specifically, like when he goes in the wall, there's shit sticking out. And they're
It
just
was so
sprinting
great.
past it.
And it took a second, as it always does with like those long takes like that, where,
Yeah.
you know, he closes the door, but the door's busted, and you're like, oh no, of course, you idiot. And he keeps going through, and then like they're alternating, like breaking through the doors. Like sometimes it's Ash and sometimes it's the camera. And I'm like, and they're still going like through all these narrow like corridors and backways, and shit is getting smashed, and he's running like, and it's all in one goddamn
It
take.
was easy like a minute and a half.
It was
Yeah.
incredible. I couldn't believe
was
what
so
I was
good.
seeing. That was
Eric-
an amazing shot.
Eric loves one take.
That
Oh, yeah.
blew me away. I thought that was going to be the gem of the whole movie. Like
yeah.
that was just, and then comes out of the house and like just
Ash
backs
hid.
away.
Well, because Ash hid and it couldn't find him. It was just
Right.
like, well, fuck. I guess I'm fucking with him a different way. And then that's when we get the creepy Linda scene.
Yeah, that's right. I can't. Oh, you tried to skip over my favorite scene.
There is
No,
so
that was
much in this
there
movie.
is.
though.
No, I
Well,
actually
in the
can't
first
blame you at
half,
all.
the
It's-
first half is basically just a series of vignettes starring.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like I'll tell you
Like-
what, he's only where we're at. That's only like the 15-minute mark of the movie.
Oh my
Yeah,
because I checked
Yeah.
where the
No.
one shot was.
I couldn't possibly keep
if
all
you
this
haven't
straight.
if you haven't seen this movie, just be prepared. It is literally nonstop. Like
because he's in
there's
his
like
house.
2 exposition scenes, and it's just like shit happens, and they're like, okay, well, here's what's going on, and it's like a minute-long exposition scene at most, and then like more shit happens.
I
Like,
honestly can't think of any point in the movie where I'm like started to dissociate or was like, oh, I need to get my phone or like you literally
yeah.
can't fucking look away from this
No,
goddamn
you
movie.
don't have a chance to.
yeah,
It fucking rips you into the movie. So he's in the cabin all by himself, and we get like just Bruce by himself for like it felt like 20 minutes.
Oh, that first third act of that movie was just carried
Yeah.
by Bruce.
Yeah.
Well, and
It
we
was-
cut away like twice to see very brief scenes of Annie Nobe, her boyfriend, Forgettable Ed. Like they're showing up and they're going to meet her dad and her mom at the cabin to like because they got some missing pages of the Necronomicon. So like that happens sometimes, and I couldn't
Right.
tell you where. It's just every once in a while the movie's like, hey, there are going to be more characters.
Yeah.
Just
Don't worry. There's
just
going to be a body
tempering your
count.
expectations. Yeah, more people.
We're going to have a body count on you here.
Yeah, we're going to go back to Ash, and then we go back to Ash, and he's up to more shit.
And there's just the inside of this cat, like the effects work in this movie is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like animatronics, we have stop motion, puppets.
really
Oh my god,
complex
all kinds
costumes.
of shit. I can't even tell you like all the shit that's going on inside this cabin. Like I'm trying, I want to like break down what the fuck's going on in here.
Yeah.
But there's so much goddamn shit going on in this. It's fucking
well,
wild.
It's just nonstop. It's just the next thing, which it almost sounds like a criticism to just be like, a thing happens and then another thing happens. That's just the way it was. But like all the things are really
Well,
good.
you just have to assume that the thing is the craziest fucking thing that could happen.
Right,
Like,
and it
and then
keeps
another,
escalating.
and then when you think that fucking crazy thing's over with, another fucking
Yeah.
crazy thing
Yeah.
happens.
There's some shit that happens like every so often where I'm like, how the fuck did they think to do that?
Right. Yeah.
Like
And the
who,
first
who was
thing-
who had the wherewithal to say, all right, let's do this.
yeah.
You know, I almost feel like this would be an editor's nightmare. Because it's like, where would you even
Probably,
start?
yeah. Right. Yeah. And so speaking of the crazy things, basically the first like significant moment where it's just like, oh shit, this movie's gonna get kind of nuts is where he sees creepy Linda and her Barbie looking head
Dance
rolled
of the
back on her
Dead.
body, and she dances, and then her head flies in through the fucking window and lands in his lap and says hello lover and bites him. And that's like the first indicator of like the tone of the movie because it's being played mostly straight till that point, and then the talking head just lands in his lap and then
Bites
bites
his
him and-
fucking finger.
and then the first major slapstick of the movie begins where Bruce, have you ever seen the stupid comedies from the 90s where somebody gets attacked by an animal and it's clearly a really shitty puppet and they're just
Yeah.
going, no, it's attacking me. Wait, that's what he's doing, but it works.
Throughout this whole movie, throughout the whole watch on, I was saying it's like they took a 1930s slapstick comedy and they just
Yep.
said, let's make it horror. 'Cause that's what it is. It's all that like goofy, like guys slipping on a puddle ship. They're like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he slips on the puddle and his
No.
face gets busted
Your
open. That's
girlfriend's head is latched onto your hand, try to get it off. And he's just beating it off of shit and knocking crap off tables, running
yeah.
around. And then he's just like, he's next to the fireplace and goes, work shit. and he runs out.
And he steps on the barrel. He comes up there, he steps on the barrel.
Yeah, it is. It is because he runs out onto the steps and then like steps sideways off the steps and lands on it. And like, and this is all Bruce, and he's doing like just excellent physical comedy. Like, I don't know if I could have sold that stuff nearly as well as he did. He was just like, yeah, no, if you're asking me to trip and fall, like I'm gonna trip and fucking fall. So he's just falling all over himself.
everything he sells everything so good in this. Like it's not like because later on he gets like there's an exchange between him and Jake that one of the characters gonna choose later, and he like hits Ash in the face, and instead of Ash just falling down, he like leaps back and like rolls like he like,
Yeah.
he is like intentionally just like getting the biggest fucking like sell out of everything. I loved it.
He didn't have to in that specific moment. There was absolutely no reason for him to do that. Like That's a good point. Like if he's going to dedicate himself to the small moments like we see later,
Yeah.
he's obviously going to do the big ones.
This is the movie where like Bruce like became a fucking icon.
Yeah, like he's clearly in the first movie. I like the subversion where it was like Scotty's the hero, he's hot and brave, and then it ended up being Bruce Campbell. But like, I'm glad that in this movie they're like, nah, it's just going to be the whole first half of the movie is just going to be him, and you're going to remember this character. So, he goes to the work shed, and he finally gets her off of his hand by putting her in a vice grip. He puts her head in a vice grip, and then he goes to grab the chainsaw.
Right.
There's just an outline of the chainsaw.
Yeah, a fucking outline of a chainsaw.
And then that's when the headless body busts in with the chainsaw. He deflects it with a crowbar and just starts sawing itself in half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's an extended scene too, where he's fucking fighting with the body
He's
while
getting
it's chainsawing.
sprayed with
I think that
chocolate
was
syrup.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's clearly just somebody like beating him with a puppet. Like he's getting taunted by his girlfriend's head. At one point, even though she is just a head,
yes,
she like tries to do the whole deadite, like, hey, I'm not a deadite anymore thingy. So he manages to dismember the body, kills the head, and then he goes back to the cabinet, and this is when he just starts fucking going insane, right? Like I think the mirror was the next.
Yeah.
My God. That was
amount of
pretty
fucking
good
bits in this movie.
yeah.
The only thing I didn't about the mirror, they shot it from behind Bruce when he comes out.
Right.
Why didn't they have the guy that came through the mirror facing the mirror and Bruce coming through the mirror?
Right. 'Cause it was like, wasn't it like some, because like, there's clearly like some makeup or prosthetics on the guy.
Yeah, like his eyebrows had color on them, and then
he had a prosthetic chin. I know he had a prosthetic chin.
and a little bit of like looked like scar wax on his nose.
Which I would love to see the prosthetic chin on that. I want to see what the prosthetic chin looks like.
So they actually did. There was a few cuts where that was Bruce the makeup instead.
Really?
At the opening of it, when they first do that bit, I honestly think that is Bruce in makeup right up until they show them face to face.
Right.
And then that's very clearly a guy in makeup to look like Bruce. And then I don't know if they had to do retakes or whether there were some cuts there, because after that, there are definitely times where it is a dude looking like Bruce when it didn't have to be.
I was thinking like maybe it was the prosthetic shit. Maybe it was supposed to look like it wasn't really Bruce because it's not him coming through the mirror. Maybe it was supposed to be like an imitation. Like I don't know.
But then he's choking himself.
Yeah, that's right. It zooms out and he's fucking choking himself.
At the opening there where it first like lunges out at him, I'm fairly certain that whole scene is him in the makeup. But after that, it cuts back and forth. I think.
I wonder why they didn't just composite the two, but
money.
Yeah, money. So I was gonna say, because we used compositing and How I Got Here, and we had zero money. But I guess different time.
But yeah, so this is where Ash loses his hand. One of the most consistent like character detail. Yeah, they make sure like he in Ash vs. Evil Dead, he gets like a robot hand and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
he gets one in Evil. Well, I don't spoil anything else.
Don't spoil anything for me.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
So anyway, so the bite from where Linda's head bit his hand gets infected. It's the same kind of weird like black spidery stop motion effect they used for the pencil wound in the first movie. So he starts getting infected, and then his hand turns evil, and then
that fight scene.
That might be the best scene of the movie.
Oh my God.
Where his hand just starts attacking him. Bruce plays it totally straight. He's terrified, obviously, and then his hand's just beating the shit out of him. It's like the perfect. You know how sometimes when you see a ventriloquist who's really good with their puppet, and you almost forget that they're controlling the puppet, even though, like, if you think about it for 1 second, you're like, oh yeah, that's clearly good. Yeah, Bruce Campbell's fucking evil hand.
Do you like that?
Yeah, Bruce Campbell is
little
his
guy
hand,
on your lap's a little bitch.
So Bruce Campbell's hand is like his puppet. You almost forget that it's just him doing the acting.
Oh yeah,
and
he's going through the whole kitchen. Just the hand is smashing,
beating the fuck out of
all sorts of flatware against his head,
breaking plates against his head, smashing
and like that's like classic like that Three Stooges like slapstick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
like
no.
I almost expected like there would be a scene somewhere in this movie where I'm surprised he didn't do like a scene where he like steps on a rake or something at some point. Like gets hit in the face with a shovel or something like that. Yeah.
No, the best stunt in the whole movie, and there were some good ones in this movie, is where he grabs the back of his head and flips himself, and he does a full somersault in the air and lands on his back.
That was
Bruce
amazing.
Campbell
Holy
is
fuck.
a god.
And that was him. That wasn't a double.
Like
It was clearly him. That was a long take too.
Yeah,
Of him just fucking smashing shit. Rami just fucking hit record and was like, "Hey man, so your hand is evil and it's beating you up." And
I
they
wonder what
just-
these plates were. Were they like sugar or something? What the fuck were they like?
Yeah.
I don't know, because
I don't know.
even the sugar glass that's meant to shatter and stuff, it can be pretty dangerous. And
honestly-
he just like must have smashed a fucking dozen of them over
I
his own
honestly
head
wouldn't be
in one
surprised if like Sam Raimi had just told Bruce like, "Here's a bunch of plates, just smack it."
day. Just smacking around.
And Bruce just like, "All right."
Yeah. Like at one point, he lands on the floor, and I don't know if this fell off the counter, if they had it planted there, but there's an unbroken plate, and he like slumps down and then just grabs it and just smashes it. Honestly, yeah. That scene, chef kiss. I love that
yeah,
scene.
real.
That's
Yeah.
so
It was
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then it ends up knocking him out cold. And the hand's going for another.
for a
well,
butcher
first
knife.
it's going for another bowl, and then it like stops, and it like quote unquote sees
The
the butcher
camera
knife.
pans over, and we see a butcher knife.
And then starts dragging his whole body across the floor by the fingers.
Yeah, by the fingers. And then you find out that Bruce was playing possum the whole time.
That's right. He outsmarted his hand
Impales his own hand
with a butcher knife or something.
With
with some sort of kitchen knife, and then he mouth starts the chainsaw. Which, for the record, you're going to lose a lot of teeth if you do that. So
Yes.
don't ever do that.
Yep.
And then he
With a chin
saws
like that,
his
though,
hand
he's
off.
got plenty of jaw strength.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Fair
yeah.
point. Fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. He saws his hand off and becomes,
One-handed
just a little more iconic. Like
Yes.
that, yeah.
Yes.
You see him slowly gain his like
I
staples.
wish.
Yeah.
I would love to have been like in the 80s seeing this for the first time in theaters. Because like there's no way you could prepare yourself for this.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of shit, because you probably think like, oh, I've seen Evil Dead, which is
Right.
just like straightforward, like
Right.
gritty horror film.
It'd
And
definitely be a shocker.
you come
Yeah,
into this, and all of
it
a sudden
would
there's like slapstick and like Bruce
Yeah.
becomes like a goddamn like action hero spouting off
Yeah.
one-liners.
Yeah.
The ending had to be like a total mind fuck for anyone watching this.
Yeah.
They'd have just been like, what the fuck is
It
going on?
is so tonally different
This
in
movie
the
had-
best
yeah.
way.
And it escalates like
So much.
consistently. Every
Constantly.
scene is weird or
Exactly.
crazier than the
There's no
last.
part where it's like, it hits like this point
Right.
and then starts
Yeah.
going down. No, it's like,
No.
it's constantly
constant.
going up.
Yeah.
Like one of the gags that we just missed earlier before the chainsaw came into things was like he's in the work shed and he's like chainsaw pulls the
Oh, I
thing
already
back.
talked about that.
Did you the outline
Yeah.
of the chainsaw?
You weren't
Oh,
even
I'm
paying
so
attention.
sorry. I was
And
probably looking up
the body, the
I'm so-
wrestle Linda's body with the chainsaw. But yeah, it's
sorry,
so
I just-
nuts.
It was worth calling back.
So then you think like,
Sorry.
oh, he got rid of the hand, but no, his hand is just fucking sentient,
Yeah.
and it's just fucking with him the whole movie. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
they play cat and mouse.
One of my favorite gags in the movie is where he puts it under the trash can and then he puts books on to lay it
Yes.
down and it's Farewell to Arms.
Farewell to Arms.
Which such a good subtle trick.
Which I love. Whoever was on set that day and it was like, I don't know, whoever came up with
Yeah.
that gag is a goddamn genius.
Oh,
Right.
Somebody
Yeah.
was like, bring in some books.
Yeah.
One of them was
Exactly.
Farewell Arms. And somebody was like, oh my fucking God.
That's part of one of them.
It's
That's
perfect.
great.
I'll bet you Bruce Campbell came up with that one. I'll bet money on it.
I
Tell
can
me
easily
if
see
I'm
that.
right.
I can
Tell me
easily
if
see
I'm
that.
right. If anybody out there
feel
knows.
I feel like a Farewell to Arms, that book shows up in Ash vs. Evil Dead at some point. But I feel like it
That'd
does.
be-
I feel like there's
that'd
something
be
in it. But
Yeah, and,
Man,
and
like-
one of my other favorite moments is what was he? He wasn't looking at the thing. He was looking at maybe the Necronomicon.
I think he
I
was
don't think it matters.
Yeah.
He was looking at a thing. He had his back to the trash can, and then it just starts moving. Even with
The trash
books on
can,
top of it.
yes.
I love it. It like moves and he turns around and it stops moving and then he turns back around and it just goes.
Like, And then we get a scene where, he gets the double barrel shotgun.
Right.
And he starts shooting at the hand. It gets into the walls and it's crawling.
Yeah, it's
around.
playing cat and mouse.
Yep. And then he finally gets it. Hole in the wall. A little bit of blood's coming
Well,
out.
first it gets itself caught in a mouse trap.
Oh yeah, and he laughs at it,
and then he laughs at it, flips him off, and then
Then he starts shooting.
then
Fuck that little
he's
hand.
shooting at it, and then bam, hole in the wall, blood's leaking out. Got the hand. He goes up to investigate. He didn't get the hand. It just starts spewing a fucking metric
gallons of blood.
right
The
in his
the amount of blood in this movie
the blood budget
is
is
crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 holes in the wall, and I believe all 3 of them start shooting blood.
They
if I
do.
remember.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's
because he
kinda-
starts stumbling, slipping in.
I wonder if that was a Craven callback. Did Nightmare on Elm Street come out?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
after
Because
this or
Nightmare on Elm
before?
Street.
Yeah,
I'm
it
pretty
came
sure
out
they're
in
watching,
84.
and the original Nightmare on Elm Street. They're watching Evil Dead. I think it's when Johnny Depp dies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he gets
and
stuck
there's
watching
that fountain
that.
of blood.
Yeah,
Geyser,
the blood
Yeah.
geyser,
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a big.
which they use that same set in The Stuff, which is from the writer of Maniac Cop.
Tyler wants to do an
yeah.
episode on this stuff.
Oh God. So so there's a big scene where he's stumbling and slipping in the blood, and then it turns into black goo and then sucks back into the wall. So now he's just covered in blood and black goo. And he's just like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm losing what happened right after.
So I
this.
think this is kind of the Beauty and the Beast moment where all of the fucking things in the house come to life.
Yes,
Is this
When he
everything.
sits
Are we
down in
already
the chair and the chair breaks.
Yeah.
So the deer head laughs at him.
Yeah, and then the
That's
whole
right.
room,
The deer head
The
laughs at
fucking
him.
the whole room starts
the
laughing.
Pixar lamp comes alive,
Yeah,
starts
it's
laughing
dancing.
at
He starts
it.
dancing
I want
with
that
it.
lamp. I mean, obviously not a lamp that
Right.
Sentient and laughs at me, but I mean, that lamp looked really cool. Like the
Yeah,
the
it did.
scrolling on top of it and stuff like
You
that.
know the lamps I always wanted. It's in the movie too. Is one of those like green like lamps, like they're like a rectangle.
Oh, I
and they're
know.
like
Yeah,
green
I
top.
know what you're
And
talking
like you
about.
always see them in like police procedurals because like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
always like on like a
Yeah, I know
desk.
what you're talking
Yeah,
I always wanted one of those. They always look so cool. And when I was a kid, they looked like candy, and I was like a little fat kid, and I was like,
I want
"Man,
that lamp.
fucking candy lamps.
Tyler Love lamp.
This is my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
this
was
is wild
great.
because the effects work on it. Everything comes
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
books
everything.
and fucking
It's fucking
shelves.
hilarious.
Yeah.
dude.
The whole
And
cabin comes
also-
to life and is laughing.
Also kind of creepy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because
I like-
eventually he starts just like howling and
He
like
gives into it. Yeah, he's like he just gives it and starts laughing at a situation too.
Yeah,
He's
And
like,
he does that bub with the lamp.
yeah,
he's
he's
like
like,
dancing
up and
with
down
it.
with the lamp.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then like towards the end of it, he starts to like just you see it like his face change from like
Yeah, because he's like, what the fuck is
what
going
is
on?
happening?
I just fought my own hand and now I'm getting laughed at by inanimate objects and a dead deer. Fuck. So now we missed earlier at some point we saw again the characters were showing up and they got to the bridge that was out. The spare characters, I like to call them. They met tow
how the
truck
fuck
driver
did they
and
get
Lot
across?
Lizard.
How the fuck did they get across?
He said there was a trail.
There was a trail.
Yeah, he said there was like
How
a
the
trail.
fuck that happens? Because there was that canyon
Massive
Right.
ass
where that
canyon.
bridge was like, Jesus
I
Christ.
remember in the
What
first
fucking trail? That's a long
in the-
goddamn
It's
trail.
like a 3-day trail.
in the
We go
first
down
movie.
this mountain up to the side.
In the first movie, it's gotta be a callback to the first movie. Because in the first movie, Scotty tells him that there's a trail.
Yeah.
When he gets to the bridge, you see, he tells him
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
trail.
that's right.
That's right.
But
Yeah, so-
I said it in the watch along. What kind of fucking like mountaintop island are they on?
Right.
Where
yeah.
like there's one, they're like hundreds
one road
of feet
and one
of
trail.
You know, like hundreds of feet in the air. There's like one bridge, and who the fuck built this goddamn bridge up in there?
Yeah.
I'm like that's like thousands of taxpayer dollars like,
To get to the one cabin.
Let's put this fucking bridge up in this goddamn like backwoods
It's for Dr.
Tennessee.
Noby to get to his vacation home.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's not in the fucking budget?
Exactly. That's what your tax dollars are going to.
So yeah, we meet tow truck driver and Lot Lizard, Bobby Joe and Jake, I think, but I'm not gonna call him
yeah,
that. So
tow truck driver
Yeah.
and lot lizard. 'Cause that's what they are.
so he's like, I'll take you there for $100, and he's like, take my bags, you got a deal.
Yeah,
Turns out she had that big trunk.
I love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It cuts to him like walking with that big ass trunk on
Oh
his
my
back.
god.
That happened earlier, and we get
Right.
the laughing scene, and it ends with everything going quiet, and Nash hears a noise outside, and he just opens up the shotgun. Because obviously, at that point, you hear any noise, you're just like,
And that's
shoot
that's
at
something I really like too. Is like this crazy shit will happen, and then as quick as it started, it ends.
it. Yeah. That's
like,
one of the things that made it a bit unsettling.
That's
Yeah.
like that's unsettling about because it's like as quickly as it starts, it dies.
It really feels like the evil or whatever was like, yeah, he's the last one. I'll fuck with him.
Right.
Like, yeah, why kill him? Why kill him? Like, the hand clearly could have come and got him at almost any point, like early on. But the evil is just like, yeah, whatever. I'll fuck with Ash. So he shoots out the door, or he shoots through the door.
Yeah.
And then he goes out to investigate, and he gets tackled and gets the fucking shit beat out of him by tow truck driver. And then Annie comes in, and she sees the bloody chainsaw, and she's like, well, this guy clearly killed my parents.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. Wait,
Well, yeah.
parents are going, bloody chainsaw, guy
Right.
covered in blood. Okay, yeah, Mike, he does get killed.
Yeah, no, this definitely fits all the criteria for parent murder.
And Jake just takes him and like throws him into the basement.
Oh yeah, which was another.
And this is the first time we get to see the cellar in like the whole movie.
Yeah, we haven't been to the cellar once.
So he tosses him down there and like tosses
Broke
him and
all
like
the
he
chairs.
breaks the fucking
stairs?
steps.
Yeah,
and everything.
like-
But
just
you know, when they went
brutalized
back
this guy.
later, the stairs were fine. Did you notice that?
I think you're right.
they
You're right.
were, yeah.
But he, like,
Continuity error.
broke the
this
fuck
movie
through
shit.
them.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie.
No. That's not what I'm saying. No.
We're gonna get another annoyed YouTube comment.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Not groovy. Not groovy. Fuck this movie. No. So they chuck him down there, lock him down there, and then Annie's like, "Well, I'm gonna play this recording." Oh shit! It's my dad's voice, and her dad's just like, "Hey, Annie, I really fucked this up, dude."
Yeah.
Turns out this is bad to read out loud. Shit's going down.
It's cut in between. He starts talking like, I believe my wife has been infected with a Kandarian demon.
Yeah.
She attacked me. I had to kill her, and I buried her. And like it cuts to like Bruce, like he's listening.
Yeah, he's
I
on the
buried
ground
her under in the fruit cellar.
I buried her in the earthen floor of the fruit cellar, and then she just
and
Pours
then
out.
Ash just screams. He's like, ah!
just the girliest ass screams.
I love it.
Yeah, and then they hear shit going down, and they're like, "There's another person down there." I think.
Swallow yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Which
They
there's
remind me of
Teddy.
a parrot whenever she's doing that. It just reminded me of a parrot. Like, and and which by the way, Henrietta in her Deadite form is played by Ted
Rami.
of Man Screaming Brain fame.
Yep.
But
and nothing else. You don't know him from anywhere else.
no. Well, he's in a lot of shit too. Like Ted Raimi is in like he was in this isn't the I think he was in fucking Xena, wasn't he?
Was he?
No.
I don't remember.
I think he is in Xena at one
He
point.
just pops up.
At least not the
feel like he
episode
was
we're
in something
talking
else
about.
we watched.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
We'll get a
Ted
running
Raimi,
tally.
who is just a constant. He's usually in like Sam and
Yeah.
Bruce's movies. Like he's really like not. I mean, I'm sure he's a cool guy, but he is just a hanger on. Like he should not have a career, but he does. Like in the '90s, he actually built a little bit of a career for himself. Like I know he's in.
I was gonna say he can be funny.
Yeah,
He can be pretty
there's
funny.
a show like C Lab, I believe is what it's called, and like or Sequest.
Sequest.
In the '90s, it had like 3 seasons. Roy Scheider was in it, and he was like one of the main top 4 or 5 like build actors in that. Like I know he got action figure shove.
Wow.
But I know in the '90s he pops up quite a bit, but
Yeah.
he usually is in a lot of the Bruce straight to video things he's in. I know that.
Right.
But he always has, Sam always gives him a bone, and Bruce always gives him a bone. I'm pretty sure he like carries their luggage and shit for him. But
He must be a pretty cool guy, though.
Yeah,
of
they've
course.
shot
Yeah.
him up
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
yeah,
They've
well,
got-
it's
yeah.
like it's
Okay,
a lot
I'll get
like
you a
James
Yeah.
Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn. Like he's in the like Guardians of the Galaxy movies,
hear
like
that,
the
Eric?
second one.
What? Oh.
Put me in your goddamn movies.
Oh yeah, jeez, yeah, you're like you're our Ted Raimi.
Yeah.
And he got you on his podcast.
let me build a bit of a career first. Or just
I got you, bro.
Now here's the thing. I saw some like a behind the scenes on this once. That suit apparently you could tell it was just thick as shit, the Henrietta
Yeah.
suit. And I guess at the end of the shooting days, they would remove the feet for like first to let the sweat drain out.
Oh my God.
And there's a part later in the movie where he's suspended from the ceiling and he turns his head to like growl at Bruce. And then some goo falls out. And if you didn't know better, you would just assume it was some regular run-of-the-mill Evil Dead goo.
Yeah.
But it's Ted Raimi's sweat coming
Because
out
I believe in like in the first one, they spew white.
There's some white pussy.
Yeah.
They use some grits
Probably like
for
sweat mixed with like baby powder.
Oh God, you're probably right.
probably
You're
right.
right. Yeah, that's
It's
probably
all
why.
milky
That's it.
like that.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
So he's getting attacked by Henrietta, and
He's like
fucking,
screaming for help. He's like, help me, let me out.
and Jake reaches in to help him and like pulls him up by his head.
yeah, which is a weird choice. He gets him out of there. Henrietta attacks, or no, she doesn't get out.
No, they close
yeah,
the thing
she
on him.
almost
does.
She attacks Jake, like grabs him by the face.
Right.
Ed runs up, and she just fucking tosses Ed.
Like Forgettable Ed.
Yeah,
he
Forgettable
runs up and he's standing up, but he like crouches down to punch it in the head. Like he's got perfectly good fucking feet.
Hey
guy.
man, try kicking.
Kick it.
Yeah.
Kick it right in the forehead.
Yep.
Yeah,
Educated feet,
which Jake does in a second, but like, and then Bruce takes over and he's sitting on top. I keep calling him Bruce.
Well,
Ash takes over.
there's a bit in there too that I thought was going to play into it because I haven't seen this in a while. But I thought this was going to play into it later, where like she is like coming out of the thing, and I think they slam the door down on her, and her eyeball pops out and it goes right down Bobby Joe's mouth.
Yeah.
And that never, and like she never mentions like, oh my God, I swallowed an eyeball or like, or like that. She just
She
kind of
doesn't
like
barf it up or anything.
like yeah, she's like, oh God, that's
like,
swallowed.
well, fuck, I was hungry.
Like you were
anyway.
going to shit that out like eventually, like at some point, like that. But
Jesus. But yeah, so nobody's helping Ash. He's just like on top of
I
the
know,
cellar
they're just
door trying to
watching.
like lock her in there. And then he gets the chain shut, and then Jake is like, maybe I'll help. And he kicks her in the face, and then he jumps on top, and then she stops struggling. And then they're just like, hey, a calm moment. Just kidding. Ed's a deadite.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
He just pops right up because
Yeah.
he had gotten thrown against the wall.
I
Like, through a
guess
picture frame.
Yeah, I guess
Smack
He
his
was
head.
just a deadite out of
He's
nowhere.
deadite.
Yep.
And he's a pretty gross looking deadite.
Yeah,
his
he
teeth are
is.
fucking
Yeah, he's
disgusting.
got big nasty. And
Right.
then he floats in the air, and he says some creepy shit.
He starts expelling stuff like "We want what you have," life, and
yeah.
he kind of like
things that were and will be again.
yeah, he's like just spouting off all this mythology, and everyone just kind of like or no, before that happens, Henrietta pops back up and starts singing that Mockingbird song.
Yeah.
and as human,
Remember when I used to sing this to you? Bitch,
yeah.
everybody sung that to their kid.
I love it. It's like she's like kind of like falling for it, and Ash comes up, like puts his hand over her shoulder, turns around, and just gives her this look like, "Bitch, don't fucking do it."
Like,
He doesn't even say anything. He just gives her a look like,
But then
"Don't
Annie
you
instantly is
fucking do
like,
it."
no, yeah, good point.
Yeah. Because the look did it all. He's like, if you even try it, we're
Yeah,
gonna have
she's
a
like-
problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was just like, oh, yeah.
And then that's when Ed pops
so
up.
that's when
So Deadite Ed reminds me of the vampires from Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like
Yeah.
this force.
Yeah.
Mouth like expands. He's got a bunch of like multiple rows
multiple
of teeth in
teeth.
there. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that. And like floating around and shit. He was creepy.
He was. I think he's like one of the more iconic like Deadites of the movie. Because I always see pictures of Evil Ed. Which I have a story about Evil Ed, which I'll tell in the post show available on our Patreon at Cult of Campbell. If you guys want to hear that.
Plug in the post show.
Yeah, if you guys want some extra shit.
You want an extended episode, you go to Patreon at Cult.net and hear the post show.
But yeah, so Forgettable Ed, Forgettable Dead Ed, gets a mouthful of hair.
Oh yeah. He rips a whole chunk of hair out of her head. Yeah.
And then Ash is just like, fuck this, and he dismembers him with an axe.
Yeah, he comes in with that one-handed of an axe. He's only got by one hand, and just chops him to bits.
Yeah.
Like he leaves and then comes back. There's a shotgun on the floor. There's still a chainsaw.
Yeah, because Annie was like, what are you doing, you coward?
Yeah, because he runs off
Something.
to get
He's doing something.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
Meanwhile-
maybe he went to the work shed again.
He must have.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
meanwhile, she's
Expected.
just been watching this whole thing. She has been no help to anybody at all.
Right, yeah. Which this, I didn't even think about it until just now, was pretty reminiscent of the scene in the first movie where Scotty was just like,
Turnaround's fair play.
I know we were dating, but I'm fucking hacking you to shit. Like, with no hesitation. Like,
And when you bring up the other movie, it's kind of like Ash spent a lot of time just watching other people doing all the work too. So it's kind of
Annie's
turned
kind of
around.
in this scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
There
true.
we go.
Yeah, he chops her up. And is this where Bobby Joe runs off?
I think
It is.
yeah.
Yes. This is where Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
She just
No. That's when. That's after that. It's like when the evil's bouncing around the room.
Oh,
Yeah. That's right.
and she's holding Ash's hand.
Oh my
yeah.
god! There's
Like,
some,
baby,
there's
quit
some
holding
cool
her hand
shots.
so tight.
There's some cool fucking camera work in there. Like,
Yes.
in that. So
Yeah.
like, there's evil trying to bounce around. Ash even says like, I think it's something from their world trying to enter our world.
right.
Yeah.
Because like things just shaking and like everyone's like reacting from left, right, up, down.
And the glances, the up downs are all
And
synchronized.
it's doing this really cool like camera work where it's like
I don't know. how they
everything
did
is
that.
flat.
Yeah.
Like everything
Yeah.
is flat.
There
There's
was like no depth at all. to
no
anything.
depth.
Yeah,
And, like
that was weird.
it's zooming in on like random things. Like it does this one shot where it like hits on Ash and Annie. The camera shoots up to one of the wooden beams.
Yes.
And then it kind of rotates around the beam where like the beam is the center of the fucking shot.
Right. And it
And-
kind of warps a little bit through
and
the whole
it is
thing.
it is so fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how that's done.
So-
That's done.
I don't know how you
I'm
take depth out of
Glad
the
you guys brought this up. This is a great scene to compliment the cinematographer and the editor for this film. I have their names. So the cinematographer is Peter Deming, and it was edited by Kay Davis. And those two, this is a great scene that showcases their stuff. But like the whole movie, I feel like they just did a fantastic job. Those guys, Sam Raimi owes them a beer.
Right. No, I'm sure he knows that. Yeah.
Well, knowing how well Sam Raimi, like these guys just fucking stick together, I'm sure they got plenty of work.
They probably play off each other really well.
It's a tight group like Michigan boys, so I'm sure they're like
because all the elements in there are great. But I could go on about that.
So it bounced around. They go into this room, like there's all this lightning and shit, and we see joke around like, oh shit, it's a Terminator. It's like it is like all this lightning and shit. So they go into this room, and it is the disembodied spirit of Annie's father, who's the doctor.
Who looks like the Pazuzu face from The Exorcist.
Right.
And he like just tells them like, hey, my souls are trapped, they're being tortured. Save my soul. And
your
yours.
own lives.
And your lives.
Yeah, and he's like, but prioritize your shit.
Yeah.
Annie, look, this sucks. I really need your help. You got to save me. I mean, I guess don't die either, but you really got to get me the fuck out of here.
But
I didn't ask for this.
It does kind of verify. I didn't ask for this. It does verify like what the Deadite was saying about his girlfriend earlier. Like
That's
she's
true,
being
yeah.
tortured in hell and stuff like that. It's like,
we have your darling Linda's soul.
Yeah. So now we know that
Get killed by Deadite is bad juju.
Yeah.
Don't get killed by a Deadite.
They cut that, and then what does Bobby Joe say? Like, you're holding my hand too tight, Jake, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, Bobby
Baby.
Joe, I'm not holding your hand.
And then that's the return of Handy.
Ash's hand.
Ash's hand.
And they there's a little scrap, and the lantern goes out, and then that's where Bobby Joe.
Yeah, she just fucking bounces.
She does.
bounce out.
She's like dead sprint through the forest.
She is like on the next cut. She is out the fuck side of that
like,
cabin,
no.
just booking it.
all in ass.
And then she just like dead stops. And
Yeah.
like, where am I?
Yeah, like at
you're in
first,
the woods.
I
Keep
thought
going.
she was going to stop at the bridge. Like that's
right.
that's why I thought she stopped. But it's like, no, you're still just in the middle of the fucking
Yeah,
woods.
she just
I
ended
mean,
up
maybe
in,
she thought she was following like the trail, and then I guess that makes sense if she knows the trail.
Right.
Maybe she thought she was following it, and then she was like, "Oh, where the
And
fuck
then-
am I?"
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we
And-
get the we thought was going to be a repeat of the scene.
I was like,
Yep.
no, not
the
again.
scene,
The trees,
The
and I was
scene,
thinking as
yeah.
she's running away, it's like, oh no, the trees.
Yep.
You know,
So they start
which we kind of
grabbing
get
her.
that. It
Yeah.
doesn't go full penetration.
Yeah, she gets wrapped up, and you're like, and then it gets more wrapped up. And
you're like, ah.
Yeah.
And then, there's a little bit of clothes tearing, and you're like, oh no! But then it just fucking wraps her up, and then just yoinks her through the woods.
Yeah.
Not
There's
much
like
of a
the
relief
little-
because it's like digging into her face.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
little tiny vines, like
Getting
digging
under her
face.
skin.
Yeah.
And it's like whipping her through like this thing. Like it's like smack her off trees.
Yeah.
through
It's like
puddles.
taking her mud running.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just fucking tearing ass through the woods, and then slams her into a tree, which
Yep.
is literally smash cuts to them smashing open the glass,
Which made zero fucking sense.
because it had a hinge. It had a
The glass case for the pages of the Necronomicon.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
find out the Necronomicon that the doctor read from was only the first half of the Necronomicon. The
Yeah.
second half is like the undo spell. The
The
and
undo button.
and
good to keep
Annie
those
brought
separate.
those. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Annie brings those, and she has them in this like glass case, which has hinges and a latch. But they decide they're like, well, let's get these pages out, and then Ash just like shatters it, gets glass everywhere.
Or in case
Like,
of emergency, break glass.
I guess, but there's hinges. I was like, you could just
Ash
open
doesn't
it
like
up.
hinges
Yeah.
or latches.
Yeah, so,
It'd been
so
funny
he
if he,
probably
like,
slices up his good hand.
Yeah, they bust it open, like he bleeds all over the good pages. I can't read this shit. Like I can't read anything.
Yeah, so,
no.
so they get the pages, and Annie's like, hey, here's a real quick exposition scene. We can undo this by reading like 3 passages from the book. And Ash is like, perfect. And then fucking truck driver's like, guys, I found a shotgun and I'm going to use it to coerce you into helping me find my girlfriend.
We're going to
nowhere.
find my girlfriend. He
Yep.
takes him outside, and they walk like 10 feet from the house, and he's just like, well, shit, I don't know what the fuck to do. And he's he's like, all right, well,
Trail's gone.
you're going to stand there. I'm going to stand here, but I'm going to yell.
Yeah.
And
so-
it just knocks Ash the fuck to the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about earlier,
Oh,
where it was
yep.
just it was a moment where he could have just like hit Ash, and then Bruce could have just stepped back and like acted and been like, "Wow, that fucking hurt." And instead, he just like full on flops, like
Yeah.
jumps back onto the ground, like he sells every little thing so good.
And
Oh,
then
yeah. I do not understand why this guy just turned on them like that
Yeah.
with the shotgun.
but then
Because Bobby Joe.
That's
after
the
he
best
does
lot
that,
lizard
yeah.
he's ever had.
yeah.
This lot lizard pays for her own cocaine. It's great.
And then Ash pops up, but he is not Ash. He is evil
Oh
Ash.
yeah, he's a
Yes.
deadite. So
And we think he kills. He wrestles around with Jake, and then he takes chase after Annie. He runs in the house, and there's a really cool scene where like she's looking out the door. The door's hanging wide open.
Yeah.
And she's like staring at it, and then he just fucking pops up. He tries to get in the house. She slams it shut, and she runs. And this was really cool for us because we on our Patreon at Cult Talk Net, patreon.com/Cult Talk Net.
you guys
we,
check it out.
we put a bonus episode where we reviewed Within the Woods, which
Within
is the quote unquote Evil Dead prequel.
Yep.
Yep.
And this right here was like a shot for shot like remake, retread of one of the funniest scenes in the movie. So,
Yes, I
She
loved
grabs
it.
the Kandarian dagger,
which came
has
out of nowhere.
apparently just been sitting on the table the whole
Yep.
time and
Yep.
nobody grabbed it. And then there's something coming through the door. Evil Ash is gonna kill her. Psych! It's regular fucking truck driver.
Yeah, she stabs him
through the gut.
Yep.
to the gut,
And
and,
then
like
he falls to the ground.
And he's in the doorway.
and she tries to slam the door on his like hip. She's like slamming it like. Like I don't know what she's thinking. Like this is gonna go through him at some point. She's like, I'm just gonna fucking get.
I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah.
So then she's like, oh well, shit, this ain't gonna work. She pulls him in, except for his feet, and starts slamming him.
Slamming it again, just breaking his ankles. This guy's just got a giant
Feet's in the way.
serrated knife
So
in his
then
chest.
finally, when it clicks, she pulls him in, slams the door, and then slams on him onto the knife. She like drops down. She's like
Yeah, she like
drops down.
falls and like both hands hit the knife and it's just like fuck.
And he's still alive. Oh,
What the fuck are you doing? And then
So then she
she's
rips
like sorry. And he's
She's
like,
trying to pull
this
the
thing
knife out.
She
He
tries
was
to
telling
pull
her
it.
to. He was like, get this thing out of me. She's like,
Twisting
no.
it, trying to get it.
So this
Like
knife.
she's trying to drive a bulldozer.
This knife is the most jagged looking fucking thing.
It's vertebrae, basically. So
Yeah.
it's got
Yeah.
points facing backwards that
Yeah.
she's just prying it out of.
Like she's shifting fucking gears.
Yeah.
She's like left, right, back, forward, just rips it fucking out of him.
It made me think of that scene in Talladega Nights where they're getting the knife out of his leg, and he's like, "We'll use the other knife to cut around it."
It made me think of that scene from Alien Apocalypse, Certified Groupie Alien Apocalypse, where he cuts the bullet out of the guy's leg
Oh yeah, it's like
in
way
a similar
worse.
fashion. But there was
you
no
made that situation
potato
so
liquor in this one in this
No.
movie.
No
So
potato liquor.
yeah, so he's
And
not
then
the,
after After basically ensuring this man's death, she begins to drag him through the house away. The man
and
who
decides the best resting spot for him.
Yep.
is right by the cellar door.
Oh, which we skipped.
you can see.
We skipped an important detail.
Okay.
When he had them hostage, he took the pages of the Necronomicon. And
Yeah.
Because that's mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Because that's mumbo
It's
jumbo.
mumbo jumbo. Instead of throwing it in the fire, which would have been like the more obviously dickish thing to
Right,
do.
We
yeah.
even saw the fire in the
Yeah,
shot.
that
That he
fire for sure it's
very
decides to-
underutilized.
Yeah.
So she lays him down. Like we all were like, well, we know what happened
His
next.
head's
No.
right by it. Right by the cellar door.
And she's like waiting around. She's waiting
She's
here
looking
where
out the
Ash
window.
is.
Yeah.
And then fucking Henrietta pops up, grabs Jake.
him, pulls him in
by the head.
by the head, and then he's just slowly getting dragged upside
She's
down
like, "Oh, no.
backwards.
I'll
And he
help
grabs
him."
his feet, starts pulling him out, and then just gets absolutely drenched with this
Fucking
insane geyser of blood.
Spews a geyser of
And for a
blood.
while, she's like still fighting for the feet. And it's like, why?
Let his
Like
feet
as soon
go.
as that started flowing out of there, and I'm like,
He lost a lethal amount of
pushed
blood
him
in the
in.
first second. Yeah.
Yeah, push him in.
fuck.
It was like a wood chipper coming
Yeah.
back, and she's still trying. Like, no, hang on, I'll get you out of there.
Yeah.
like he's head first in this thing. He is gone.
We see later he's literally just a fucking skeleton. Like,
Yeah.
still in his bib overalls. So.
Yeah.
still with a little bag of coke in the front pocket. Like,
So Ash breaks in and they like tussle. And then he sees the
the all important magnifying glass necklace.
which you mentioned, like
Grapples his soul back
the
to reality.
chain was in the shape of a skull, which I think that was in the. I think they did that in Evil Dead 1.
Oh, I think you're right.
I think they did that same bit in Evil
it's
Dead
laying
1
on the floor.
So,
yeah, with the chain in the shape of the skull.
and he picks it up, right? And then like he
Yeah,
he gets cured by love.
Yeah, it grapples his soul.
Grapples his soul,
Grapples his soul.
and he does kind of overcome.
Comes
The
to evil. Yeah,
possession.
it comes to
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah,
And
and
then,
then he never becomes a deadite again.
and
After
then,
that. It never reverts.
And then
Right.
Annie, of course, is like, "I'm not falling for this shit." And like,
Oh.
she starts trying to kill him with the axe.
She does.
And one of my favorite moments is he kind of like he's telling her I'm all right, and she kind of lays off. He slumps against the wall, and then the axe just right next to his head.
She's not falling for it, and fucking smart of her too,
Yeah,
because
for
the
real.
Deadites
I
play
would've-
those dirty tricks.
I wouldn't have.
Oh, I would. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have totally done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to think I would have actually hit his head when it wasn't moving, but
Right,
I'd have been
right,
like,
right.
too.
Prove it. Like,
Yeah,
Right, like drink some holy water or something. God damn, like I don't
Yeah.
believe you. I saw my fucking mom like as a monster and then not a monster. Do you think I'm falling for some weirdo? Like,
so he's getting mad at her too.
Yeah,
but it's
he's like,
like,
"What the
no,
fuck,
man,
lady?"
you fell for this before. Like,
Yeah.
you get it,
so finally, he's able to convince her, like, "Hey, I'm not a deadite,"
right?
and she lets her guard down. And then he, tells her, like, or she tells him, like, we can't stop this unless we get the book.
yeah,
There's
which is
look.
in the
And he
in the
says, "Well, let's go and let's dice us up a witch or something like that."
yeah,
Yep.
he's become
And-
a badass.
And then we get like the scene. This is like the scene.
The scene.
So
scene.
yeah, we get the like the quick cuts. I this scene is just so goddamn perfect. This is another scene where I would have loved to have been in the 80s, sitting in the theater, seeing this for the first time, because there's no way you expect this sort of badassery to come from this movie. You're not expecting him to walk in there.
It's been a goofy slapstick this
Yeah.
whole time. You don't think he's going to become an action hero?
He
Like,
walks in there, they kick
Yeah.
him, they go in the door, they go into the shed, and just some quick cuts of them, doing engineering stuff,
Yep.
suiting up.
suiting up.
Cranking things together,
Cranking
pulling
things.
straps
Yeah,
on.
he gets his little hook thing on his shoulder where he can hook the chainsaw and pull start it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Saws
stands
the
there and he's
barrel
got
off the
a
shotgun.
fucking chainsaw mounted to his hand. Like there is
Yep.
no like. Imagine just being in the fucking scene that the first time. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
but how's it
remember how
giving it gas?
Oh, exactly. That's always my fucking thing. Like, well, we see it attached to some sort of like wire to it. So I guess he's attached to his nerves. I don't know. Man. I think at some point I could be wrong, but I feel like at some point in the beginning there's a shot of like books in his car and like he's got like engineering books. So I think he's got
is that
engineering
right?
experience, which I'm an engineer, so I can.
You can relate.
There you go.
I can attest to these skills.
Okay, so if we're ever in a
Tyler's had a suit up
situation,
scene.
yes.
yeah, if we're ever in a situation where we need to murder some like undead demons,
Yeah, I'll
Tyler, you
engineer-
gotta rig us up some cool
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
okay?
If I ever lose my hand,
Yeah,
you
I'll,
are
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
to you.
Make me a
Chainsaw
good
hand.
hand.
I'll rig you up like a dirt devil duster on your hand.
that works. It's close enough.
I can clean up any mess.
And who came up with this chainsaw hand?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like watching this movie and you see all this cool shit, and you gotta like think like, what were like, how did they come up with this? Like from Evil Dead, we saw Evil Dead, what it was, and whose idea was like, all right, in the second one, we're just gonna go full Schwarzenegger with Ash.
Yeah.
Right.
He's gonna start spouting one-liners. Oh, when his hands went taken, we're gonna mount a chainsaw to it.
I feel like drugs had to be involved.
I mean, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But they
Dude, bro, like, what if we put a chainsaw in his hand?
But that's where we get the first use of the absolutely iconic line. He saws off the barrels of the shotgun, puts it in the sheath he apparently has, and then it zooms in. Groovy. It's perfect. Perfect.
Loved it.
It is just like, I just can't get over that scene.
No,
like,
beautiful.
I just wish I could see this movie in theaters for the first time in the 80s.
Yeah.
Man.
There's a zero chance you cannot, like, even today in like movies, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Like,
Right.
if you go to like a Marvel or a Star Wars movie now, you know the formula.
Right,
You know what you're getting yourself into. But this right here, there's no way. If you're going to see Evil Dead 2, I imagine you've seen Evil Dead. There's no way going into Evil Dead 2, following Evil Dead, that you're going to expect the kind of shit you're going to see in this movie.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I wouldn't have. If I was like a straight up fan of Evil Dead 1 and had like never seen Evil Dead 2 before I watched it tonight, like I would have been like, what the fuck? Because by the
feel like it
time
could
I
be
saw it,
polarizing.
I'd seen Ash before with the chainsaw hand and the double barrel before I ever saw that movie. But if I was like fresh, like I didn't know that was going to happen, and I saw this, I would have been like,
It would have been
what
like a
the
mind
fuck?
fuck.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is a mind fuck.
'Cause
Like,
a lot of-
especially, I imagine it probably was a little polarizing too for anyone who was like a super fan of Evil Dead.
Right, like people
Like
who wanted
you're
a
going in
straight
for this like
horror movie.
psychological, like grueling horror flick, and then you get one-liners and
Madness and camp.
jokes and
Right.
slapstick.
Yeah, and the thing is, with a lot of horror franchises, especially the ones that got the shit beat out of them in the 80s, just like year after year releasing movies, it was like, hey guys, the killer's going to become your favorite character. You're going to start rooting for Jason to kill people. You're going to start rooting for Freddy's one-liners. But Evil Dead was like, nah, we're going to make the good guy that.
Me and Eric talked about this a little bit on our El Jefe episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead. And I'm pretty sure I put a clip of it up on social media.
Yes.
We talked about it where like, I theorize that the reason that this character endured so long is because this is like the first action hero of horror.
Yeah.
Because like you were mentioning, in all the horror movies prior to this, you have your villains. That's who are you think of your Jason Voorhees, your Michael Myers, your Freddy Kruegers. But the Evil Dead series is the first movie where like you have this relatable, like cool ass fucking guy that you can root for to win.
Yep.
And he's just like a straight up like it's like if you watching Evil Dead 2 there in that third act, I'm like, this is what would happen if Arnold Schwarzenegger did a slasher movie. This is what he would.
Yeah.
This is what it would be like.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of was, he was an action hero badass and Predator.
Right,
Which was the
exactly.
same. Yeah.
But then like
Groovy, baby.
yeah, like you get fucking
very cool
Ash in this, and it's straight up like the '80s action star taking on demons. It's beautiful, and like that's why this character has endured so long. So there's no like even if you look at your heroines from Michael Myers,
Right.
and shit like that, like they're nowhere near as badass
Right.
as Ash. As Ash Williams.
They kind of had to, in the new Halloween movie, not to get too off topic, they kind of had to force Laurie Strode to be like the badass that could take on Michael or whatever. Cause like she's the only like consistent character in the Halloween movies besides Dr. Loomis in the first
who's
two.
died like fucking 3 times.
Right. Yeah. So in the 2018 Halloween, they were like, okay, we have to show that she's like turned herself into a badass or whatever. And like Evil Dead 2 did it in like a montage.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to root for Michael Myers to kill the annoying teens. You're not going to root for Jason Voorhees to kill the nameless characters. You're going to root for Ash to go in that cabin and kill some goddamn demon.
Yeah, because he does. He busts in that fucking cabin and he goes down that basement and like,
goes
he's
right
ready
down
to
there.
kick some ass.
Yep.
Yep. And then he
gets
sees dude's skeleton with his trap.
First he has to traverse the goddamn piping nightmare down there.
Yeah,
The
That
plumbing
is way too
nightmare.
many pipes.
There's not enough plumbing in that
Yeah,
cabin.
it would have made fucking like Mario squeamish.
Yeah.
He's like on there,
That's like an apartment building's fucking pipe
yeah,
set
why are there
up.
so many goddamn pipes?
How many toilets are in this place?
There were like rags wrapped around joints and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
It's a nightmare.
So he goes down there and like he's got to fight. It's kind of like it reminded me of like a video game when he was down there because it was kind of
yeah,
like
it's the
you
boss
know,
fight.
you know, he's unlocking, he's collecting these achievements of
Yeah. Here's a page.
Here's a page.
Oh,
here's a page. Yeah,
I found the corpse of truck driver.
Ben did ooh piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah.
And that was pretty accurate. But then then fucking trucker guy, his skeleton pops up out of nowhere.
Yep.
And like Earth said, it still has no skin, no flesh, but still has the bibs.
so we know it's Trucker.
Yeah.
So we know it's him.
And then also in that same scene we get another Wes Craven callback.
Oh yeah, Freddy's glove is up.
Freddy's
on the wall.
glove is hanging up on the
Yeah,
wall,
Bagel.
which was cool.
Yeah, that's kind of I like that because that's a thing a lot of horror fans know about. But if you don't know about it, there was a Hills Have Eyes poster, which Wes Craven always kind of felt like was like one of his underappreciated movies. Like he liked it more than most of the audience did. So he like appreciated that Sam Raimi put a Hills Have Eyes poster. So as like not revenge. What's the good version of revenge? To kind of like throw it back at him. He in a Nightmare,
little compliment, little ode,
Thank
little
you.
homage.
Yeah, that sounds better than the words I did. So
He good revenged him.
yeah, he could revenge him.
Revenge.
We're
This
damn hard.
movie's turning my brain into pudding. No,
Understandable.
so he put Evil Dead on the TV, which you pointed out, Eric, in that scene in Nightmare on Elm Street when Johnny Depp is watching TV.
Yeah.
He gets sucked into the bed and the geyser of blood pops up. That's similar to a lot of things that happen in this movie,
Yeah.
Right.
like with the blood geyser and stuff. So Sam Raimi returned the favor again by putting Freddy's glove in there. So that was like a deliberate, like that kind of,
referencing each other.
pat each other on
So
the back. Yeah.
so shockingly, like you when he goes down in the basement, you're expecting this big brawl.
Yeah. She's
But
gonna pop out.
he gets in and out. He gets in pretty quick, and he seemingly gets out pretty quick. Like he's
like up the stairs with all the pages. They stayed intact or together. He doesn't have to like go around and collect
No,
them.
Yeah.
he tosses them up to Annie, who takes them, and you think like, oh, this is
Wha-
hey,
what
they did
an
it.
easy little thing. And then Henrietta pops out of the
From under the stairs.
stairs and just beats the shit out of him.
Yep, grabs his ankles and pulls him through and starts beating the crap out.
Wow.
of him.
And then this is where she comes upstairs and her and Annie, or she picks up Annie, right? And like that's when
So she's floating above Annie,
Yeah.
like kind of, yeah.
Well, she had gotten like one part of the thing read out at one point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
then-
started
She started
Yeah.
reading it, and that's why Henrietta like went up after
and
her.
we see that as she's reading it, the trees are like unrooting themselves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And because she explained earlier in one of the few and quick exposition scenes that there are 3 passages. There's one that embodies the evil into a physical form. Another one opens a portal that will banish it. And then the third passage closes the portal.
Yeah.
So she starts reading the first passage, which starts to embody the evil. So things start to escalate. Henrietta goes up after her and starts floating in the air. She's like, got her by the hair and is like spinning around. And that's when we get the shot where Ted Raimi turns his head and all the nasty sweat pours out. Because Ash comes back up. He's a badass. So he starts taking on Henrietta.
She's she's going on about I'll suck your soul.
Yeah.
I'll swallow your soul. Swallow your soul.
And then her pretty decent looking stop motion effect. Her neck extends into this long snake like monster head. She starts attacking. He lops off both her arms, lops off her head, and then we get another iconic like Ash badass moment where her severed head is on the ground, still screaming that she'll swallow his soul. And then he puts his head on her,
Puts the
blows
shotgun
her,
down. Puts the shotgun down. Yeah.
puts the shotgun down, blows her to bits.
Yeah, swallow
this. Yep, and then bam. Which I love that moment.
And then all
yeah.
hell breaks loose because the trees are attacking the cabin.
Yeah, they start ramming the house.
and they're just like trying to stay away from the windows and the walls and whatever.
And Annie starts explaining.
Yeah, she's
I
like,
only
"Hey."
read the first passage. The first passage embodied the evil. I've got to read the second one. What the second one will do?
and we're all going,
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you fucking
read
finish
the-
it?
You said this earlier, and Ash is just like, "Well, fucking read it."
He's like, read it
Why are
now.
you not reading it? Like, I don't need to know. Just do it. Do you know? Then fucking read it.
Yeah, you can explain everything afterwards.
Yeah.
So
Tell me what you did later, but
the trees start bursting in. She starts reading. We see the portal open.
Yep.
And then she stops
Yes.
and
Just
just turns
as that
around.
giant face comes through the door,
the big
too.
giant face comes.
yeah,
and
the
like
big
grabs.
tree bark
As
thing.
soon as she
Ash's
sees
hair
it, she
turns
stops.
white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Where he
Yeah.
comes through and like his hair turns, like he gets that gray
That
streak,
streak of
Yeah.
and then the tree hand comes in and starts pulling him into the maw of the tree face.
Yep.
And then she stops reading. She turns around and the fucking hand
Yep. Ash's
stabbed her with the Kandarian dagger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stabbed her in the back.
And this is the one time where Annie fucking like shines because she's got a fucking knife in her back
Yeah.
and she's
Yep.
like, no, I'm not dying. I'm finishing this shit.
Yep.
Yeah, she collapses onto the ground, and it looks like Ash is kind of done for. He can't really get the chainsaw going.
Right.
And but then she starts reading again while she's on the ground. It's like, fuck yeah, Annie. Like,
Yeah, she's starting to pull through.
yeah.
Ash-
Ash jams the chainsaw into its eye.
Yeah, he
It's a bunch
manages
of
to get it
glue.
started.
Yeah. So she barely manages to finish the second passage to banish the evil.
Yeah, the tree face gets sucked in and the tree hand, all that
Yep.
stuff gets sucked in.
And then she dies. And
She
can't finish it.
dies.
Yeah.
And then Ash gets sucked into. He's like hanging
Yep.
on the board. He's like, what do I have to do to stop this?
Yeah, it just won't end.
And then he gets sucked into the
Into
the portal.
this
Yep,
portal.
into the
We
portal.
see the delta get sucked in.
Yep. The Delta goes, a bunch of trees.
Trees, all that. And then we get some trippy imagery of him flipping through fucking
Christmas lights.
they were
Yeah.
they were totally Christmas lights. Right?
like-
That's what they totally
yeah.
were. They were
It was like a
quick
lower
shots of
budget.
Christmas lights.
It was I made this comment. It was a lower budget version of fucking Space Odyssey. If
Yeah.
you remember
Yeah.
from 2001 when he's going through and it just cuts to his face and he's just making weird faces. Ash didn't do that, but he's flying through like a Christmas portal, and then now earlier we saw a picture in the
Yes.
Necronomicon. Which it looked like him. It was a dude in a blue shirt holding what?
Yeah, they
chainsaw.
yeah, she
Yeah.
even says she even says like he's a savior that fell
He's,
from the
yeah,
sky.
he's a hero from the sky.
And
or
then
something
earlier
like that.
earlier than that, or it might have been the same when she does the flashback to her father finding the Necronomicon.
yeah.
He is in front of the castle that we see later. Like he drives up to the
Oh,
castle.
okay. See, I missed that.
Which I don't know if the castle is like. I assume it's like England or something like that, right? Like it's not in
I
Michigan.
think
It's
so,
not
yeah.
some Michigan.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, she comes back from the expedition on a plane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So
yes.
it like sucks him in, transports him through time and place. So I was like,
Yeah.
I've always thought that kind of back in my mind. Like, hopefully, it's not supposed to be Michigan where this is.
Yeah.
The great
Medieval
kingdom
Michigan.
of Detroit.
Yeah. So
You've never heard of the King of Detroit?
yeah. So Ash lands in the barren dirt desert of England,
Yep.
where he is very quickly surrounded by a bunch of knights in full plate armor.
Like fuckloads
Yep.
of them.
And he's just laying there, and they're like, "All right, well, clearly this is a deadite, so four of them are about to stab him." And
Wait,
then-
2 deadites.
yeah. They're like, oh shit, another one.
Yeah,
This
just
one's not unconscious. We gotta fucking bounce.
Flying creature comes
Yeah, this
in.
flying hag monster.
Yeah.
And everybody starts to scatter except for Ash because he's a badass now.
Yep.
He pulls out a shotgun, blows his head off with one shot. And this is where somebody pointed out that the gloves were like, looked like
They were
gold
totally
gloves or
ski
something.
gloves.
Yeah,
Or
ski
Yeah.
gloves. Like
On the
something
knife.
that's
They
were
spray
just, like,
painted silver.
Thick winter gloves.
Yeah.
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 Spray
Yeah, I
painted.
think you pointed that out. Or I don't
think
know.
it's
I
Ben
did.
did.
Oh, yeah,
It was
yeah.
Ben.
That's right.
So they all the knights just like in shock. Then we
Yep.
get a cameo from our second Raimi cameo. We get Sam Raimi.
Yep. He pulls up his visor and he says, "All hail he who has come from the sky to save us from the terror of the Deadites."
And then Ash is just like, no.
Yeah, he's got like a whole army of knights that are just like,
They're
"Hell
like,
yes,
oh
fuck."
hell, oh hell, oh hell.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
I mean, the camera's just panning away from
That would
him.
be pretty shitty after everything you just been through.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
God,
no.
damn.
He's
I
gonna be
this
like,
is over.
he's gonna be like, God, I just want to fucking rest. Like, I just want to go fucking stay the night in the
can't
cabin
even fall
and bang my
asleep.
girlfriend. I want to
Christ, it's gonna be like 3 months before I can get a bath. Fuck. And then the movie ends.
Then
with
the movie
tease
ends, and you
for
know,
Army of Darkness, which, fun fact, was originally going to be called Medieval Dead, and then the studio, being the studio, was like, nah, so they called it Army of Darkness.
Fuck you, studio.
Medieval
Yeah.
Dead is a way
It was
better
going to be
title.
Way better
brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
So, yeah, that
Medieval
that-
right, it's
Dead.
one of those titles that writes itself.
Right.
Yeah, seriously.
But
Yeah.
you
No
know,
effort.
I think now that we broke down this fucking roller coaster,
Yep.
let's go ahead and let's bounce on over The Quality of Campbell.
Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
All right, and we're back with The Quality of Campbell for Evil Dead 2.
Oh boy.
This is gonna be good. I can kind of guess the ratings. I don't want to say, but I can kind of guess. So, Ian, what do you think of The Quality of Campbell in Evil Dead 2?
Excellent. This was like full balls to the walls. It's like night and day. Like Evil Dead's a classic. Again, I really liked that movie, but like Bruce Campbell did not stand out in Evil Dead 1. It, like if he wasn't famous right now, I wouldn't be like, man, who's that dude with the unibrow? Like, but like Evil Dead 2 is Bruce Campbell's movie. Literally, the first entire half has almost no other characters in it. Like, probably a third of the movie is just him on screen. There's like Linda at the beginning. We see some other characters very briefly, and then it's just him. It's just him getting driven nuts. It's him fighting his hand. It's him doing shit. It's him breaking fucking a dozen plates over his head.
Yeah.
And he sells everything super well. Like, there are not a lot of people that can pull off good slapstick. It usually comes off as fucking stupid. But, like, he pulls everything off. And it was entertaining throughout.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
When he was scared, he was scared. When it was funny, it was fucking hilarious. When he turned badass, it was believable. This is the same guy that screamed like a little girl when Henrietta popped out of the fucking thing. And then later he gets that moment where he says groovy. And it's like, he totally believed it. I was like, nice.
Yeah.
Ash has become a badass.
He's become El
Yes.
Jefe.
Excellent quality. I'm very clearly giving this a groovy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Evil Dead 1 is the better horror movie. Evil Dead 2 is the better movie.
I'll say I made this comparison earlier. I think it was during the watch long. Maybe it was during this. I can't remember. This is a bit long episode, but it's like Alien and Aliens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's that they're really incomparable. Like I know there's
It's
people
like
there's people
night
that really prefer Alien. There's people that really prefer Aliens.
But they're both good movies in
They're
their
both
own right.
great movies, and they're both like totally different genres. Like, and that's the way I would kind of compare this to is like Evil Dead is a straight up horror film. Like it's it's horrific and it's grueling and it's grotesque. And this is more like a fun, campy action horror film. Action comedy horror film.
Yeah.
Like it's the thing of it is it's all these different genres and it hits on each one of them.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's a better one or the other. Like it all just hits and meshes so well.
Yeah.
And Bruce in it, my God.
Oh yeah.
He is just this is his movie. And like for those, like I said, there's like a 20-minute stretch where it's just Bruce on screen. And he fucking sells it. Like everything. Like he's on all that slapstick shit. He's beating himself up.
Yeah.
He's losing his mind. And that was to me some of the most entertaining parts of the whole movie is when it's just Bruce on screen by himself.
Right. Yeah.
Because he carries it. This is his movie. And like this is where Bruce becomes an icon. This is where he becomes Bruce Campbell we know and love.
Right.
And this is the Ash Williams that we see in Army of Darkness, and I think we see an evolution of in Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Right.
Like this, to me, Ash Williams version 1 died in Evil Dead because this is incomparable. Like it's so head and heels above what we got in Evil Dead.
Because even at the very beginning, he was like charming with his girlfriend, like flirting with her. He wasn't nearly that charismatic.
Oh man, in the very first like flirtation scene between him and Linda in this, he exudes more machismo and charisma than he did in all of Evil Dead 1. Like like when he's flirting with her, like he's giving her that eyebrow and he's cocking his head back and forth. Like I was like, damn, this is like Bruce. Like it was so goddamn like charismatic. So I mean, I don't think you can really give this thing any other rating. Like there's only one answer to this whole thing. But what do you think about ours?
Everything you guys said. I mean, from like the self-fighting with the hand, smashing the plates on his face, the flirting, the going crazy, you can just tell how much more confidence he has in his acting between now and Evil Dead 1.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can see it on the screen and it really pays off. I don't know what happened between then. Maybe just like I think Ian said, you just shave that unibrow and it's like it's like the opposite of Samson.
Yeah. He was bound by that unibrow.
And I mean it's phenomenal. I mean it's epic.
Oh yeah.
Well, you Eric.
Okay. This is So for the Evil Dead, I gave Bruce Campbell's performance a groovy because I made the argument that you could see the seeds in there of what it could become, and I didn't quite realize what the becoming was going to be. Yep. If that makes any sense, but you can tell that Bruce is a passionate actor just by comparing these two movies to each other, because in The Evil Dead, he's certainly not afraid to be in front of the camera. And we rag on his acting, but he was clearly putting the skill that he knew and had into it, what he could, you know what I mean? He wasn't skimping on us or just there to support, like just to fill the camera screen. Like he was there because he wanted to be. Same thing with Within the Woods when we reviewed, that episode, and somewhere between that and The Evil Dead 2, like I know he's done movies and stuff, but like you can tell that he has honed his craft. Like that takes passion. That's not just, showing up and like, okay, yeah, I'll do this movie. Like he put some work into his performance capability in those 6 years. And that's quite some time. And I know he became pretty famous like after The Evil Dead and before this was made. But and seeing his we've talked a lot about his physical comedy and stuff like that. Like that's a lot of work, flipping yourself around a set, breaking even breakable props over your own head, and really just carrying a scene by yourself as a performer is intimidating and difficult to do, to keep it interesting. And it was constantly interesting. And he had the support of a great director, great cinematographer. The editor like put all this together really well. But like you're right, he's really switched on in this. His charisma is turned up, and the physical acting, everything is just, it's amazing. I could just sit here and basically gush all over him, but I'll just sum it up by saying like this is definitely a groovy. If I could give it more than groovy, I would. Yeah,
I'm gonna say, of course, this is a groovy. I'm giving it a groovy.
Yeah.
I gotta go against you guys and give it a definitely groovy. 100% groovy.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost as good as Alien Apocalypse.
Yeah,
almost.
And unfortunately, Ben couldn't make it to the very end of the show. He wasn't feeling well, but we're gonna get his vote, and I wonder what his vote will be.
I would almost guess. I don't want to speak for him, but I could. What I might do is I think we'll just have him. Instead of wait till the next episode, because I don't know when the next episode will be. So, and we'll get a little audio clip from Ben.
Okay,
let's hear what Ben thinks about the Cult of Campbell and Evil Dead 2.
This one, I definitely groovy for me.
There you have it.
Yeah, certified groovy across the board. 5 out of 5. Fucking better be. So I think Evil Dead 2, I mean, I don't want to say it's certified groovy, but I think we can all say it's certified
probably
groovy.
a safe bet.
And rightfully so.
Yeah,
in my opinion, because this is the becoming of Bruce and where he becomes the man that we know and love.
You get all the iconic elements to his character: the shotgun, the chainsaw hand,
the lines, groovy, the one-liners, the fucking machismo, just goddamn charisma he brings to this.
This is the movie where people, I'm sure, walked out of theaters and were like, "That I really like that fucking character."
I want to know
Bruce Campbell guy.
I want to know how many people got pregnant after that scene.
Oh my god!
There was probably a baby boom across America.
I want to know how many fucking nerdy horror fans in the '80s started saying "groovy" all the time. I know there's like 5 right here that that make it. I have to say it multiple times a week.
Yep.
But I know. That's us taking a look at Evil Dead 2, and I think it's a good time to wrap it up for all of our listeners here on the Cult of Campbell. You guys can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter. We now have a Twitter, and I bought it, but we have it.
We prefer you come to our YouTube.
We got a goddamn TikTok, which I didn't want to do. Got a TikTok.
Got motherfucking TikTok.
As always, from the Cult of Campbell, just remember,
stay groovy.
Hail to the king, baby. That's it? That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.